The Union of BC Indian Chiefs has released a statement saying this MOU is nothing less than a high-risk and deeply irresponsible agreement that sacrifices Indigenous peoples, coastal communities, and the environment for political convenience. We will not stand by while the Carney government and Alberta attempt to bulldoze our rights and disregard the catastrophic risks of a spill in the corporate profit interests of the global fossil fuel industry. For a closer look at what this newly signed Alberta-Ottawa energy agreement and potential oil pipeline could mean, we're joined by Maureen Nyce. She is the elected Chief Councillor of the Haisla Nation. She joins me now from Squamish, BC, and appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Happy to be here.
I just want to start by getting your reaction to this agreement between Ottawa and Alberta that's just been signed on the energy sector and the possibility of an oil pipeline to BC's North Coast.
Well, we are very disappointed that the Government of Canada has committed with Alberta to explore the feasibility of an oil pipeline to the north. Basically declared that this project is of national interest and without any engagement whatsoever with Indigenous people across the province or along the coast. So that's a start. They've taken a major step back, in my opinion, in terms of the relationship with First Nations with this announcement. It makes no reference in the MOU to the need for Indigenous consent for the pipeline to go ahead, and that is completely unacceptable.
Tell me what you're hearing from members in your community.
Well, our community was down this road once before. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Enbridge and the Northern Gateway a pipeline that was proposed more than 20 years ago, I think now. And our nation was very opposed to that. We fought that, and that effort failed on the, to get that pipeline through. I believe it was largely a result of that effort. So we've been down this road. We'll go down this road again to ensure that we are heard and understood about what we value on the coast and why we just aren't ever going to accept a pipeline to our shore.
Tell us about that. Why will you never accept a pipeline to your shore?
Well, it's not in our interest. We live on the land. We still breathe that air. We take all our food from that waterway there on the Douglas Channel, and any event that is like a spill on our waterway is catastrophic for us. We will not be able to harvest like we do. We'll not be able to maintain the lifestyle that we have on that coast. So for us, it is quite an emotional battle.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think it's important to point out, because I think you pointed this out to my producer, that you're not anti-resource. You just don't like this pipeline. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
That's correct. Yeah, we are always looking for a win-win, and we felt that we have found that with the development of LNG facilities on our shores. We feel that is a fit that works with our values. The transportation of LNG on our waterways doesn't pose a high risk to our food source, so we're supportive of that. There are other things that we're looking at. We're looking at possibly carbon capture. We're looking at possibly propane. We're looking at other options that align with our values. That's the sort of projects that we're interested in, and we'll work with proponents toward achieving. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, and I understand you met with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith earlier this week. What conversations did you have about this agreement?
Well, we didn't really touch heavily on it. We basically stated our position about the pipeline and about an export facility on our shores, our strong opposition to it. But she was very open to talking about other things. It was overall a good conversation with her. I felt she was open to hearing our perspectives and concerns, and I feel like we ended on a decent note. So I was expecting this message to come through today, but she didn't allude to what was contained in it at all, and there was really no discussion about it yesterday. However, our mayor did express some interest in that any possibility of development on our shore. So there was a little bit of conflict there in our messages, but we'll work through that with the mayor.
Yeah, and there's often going to be disagreements, right, when it comes to resource development, pipelines. Now, the memorandum says Alberta and Ottawa will work with BC and emphasize Indigenous ownership and shared economic benefits as they explore a pipeline. What do you make of some of that language in this memorandum of understanding?
That language tells me that they're going to make sure that pipeline gets to shore, and they're going to find a way to accommodate us. It does not say they're looking for consent. It does not say that what it says is that they're hoping that Indigenous people will buy into the pipeline as equity owners along the way. But it doesn't really talk about the possibility that it's not going to happen, which I think is an important part of the conversation. We weren't included in that conversation between the Premier and our Prime Minister at all. We were not engaged in any way, shape, or form, and I feel like that was a huge signal of disrespect from both of them to not include at least our Premier and the leaders who will be affected along the coast that they're proposing or that they're hoping to run that through. And there's really only two options, Prince Rupert and Kitimat, I believe, are the two options that they're considering.
It was good of you to take the time. Thank you. Maureen Nyce is the elected Chief Councillor of the Haisla Nation.